Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we hope to give you some insight on how colleges recruit for tennis. So we have our coach here today, Matt Brisotti, and he's the head coach of men's and women's tennis at Drew University. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So usually I start out my guests where they went to college. So where did you go?
I went to Drew University.
You did?
I myself, I attended there from 2008 to 2012.
Oh, okay.
Played tennis all 4 years there. We won the conference championship all 4 years when I was there too. Made it to NCAA tournaments 3 out of the 4 years I was there. And now I'm kind of where I am now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, how did you start your career? When did you start in tennis?
I played a little bit when I was in kind of elementary school, and then it kind of grew from there once I entered junior high, and then I entered high school. I had great coaching from when I was young, but when I really kind of hit junior high, that's when I really realized, like, oh, I can play, and I can play pretty decent.
Okay.
And then everything just kind of took off from there. I started doing a lot of tournaments, and decent amount of tournaments when I was in about ninth grade, eighth, ninth grade, and I kind of did a couple a year.
Okay.
And that's how I was able to build up a ranking, and then I was able to get recruited.
So ranking, is it like a USTA ranking that you get?
Yes, that's a USTA ranking. You play in USTA sanctioned tournaments, and certain tournaments are worth certain amounts. Like obviously higher rated tournaments are going to be worth more points in the end. So there's different levels that you have. For each region, it's a little bit different. So it's not all the same for every single region.
Yeah.
But a lot of the goals for a lot of juniors are to be in that top 75, top 100.
Okay.
And that's a goal for a lot of juniors.
So now what happens, when did you start getting recruited? Was it freshman year of high school, or did it start later?
I believe it started around my end of sophomore year to my junior year.
Okay.
Actually, Drew was the first school I did look at. I did an overnight there, and I really liked it right away.
Okay.
And I knew that it was a school that would definitely be on my radar.
Okay.
For sure. I liked the way the campus is set up. I liked the coach. I really liked the facilities, and I liked the team too.
Okay. And what ended up happening with other schools? Did you get recruited by other schools?
Yes, I got recruited as my high school years went on. I got recruited by more and more schools. I think by the end, I think there were maybe about a core group, about 10 schools that I was looking at.
Wow.
A lot of them in New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, that kind of area. I knew I didn't want to go so far away from home. I knew I definitely didn't want to go all the way out to California.
Okay.
But I knew that I wanted to stay local and also play tennis. That was definitely a big key factor for me.
Okay. So now you graduate from college. What did you do to get into tennis as a head coach?
Well, the first thing that actually came across for me was when I was still at Drew, I made a connection with a local tennis company that was an expanding business, and I started teaching while still in college. I started in March of my senior year, and after I completed graduation in May, they said, "Hey, how would you like to work here full time?"
Wow.
And at first I wasn't 100% sure. I was still trying to figure it out. I was like, well, do I want to go back home, or do I, want to potentially, choose a career path? And so as I was thinking about it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna take a full-time teaching job at first. So I did that for about 2 years,
Okay.
and then I originally started my coaching career at a school, College St. Elizabeth in Morristown. That's where I first started my head coaching career. Right away, I got kind of thrown into being a head coach. So I had to learn from a lot of friends, family members, other coaches. My current coach at Drew was a big mentor for me to understand how to be able to conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis.
So did you contact him and ask him how to be a head coach?
Yeah, I was just like, I have an idea. How does this work? And pretty much what should I do and what shouldn't I do? So he was definitely a big resource for me. I also have a cousin of mine who I'm in frequent contact with, who who's really kind of done it all for college athletics, coaching basketball. So he's also a person that I can always talk to be able to be like, hey, I need a little bit of help, because he's coached Division 1, 2, and 3 men's and women's basketball.
Wow, that's fantastic. So now you become the head coach at Drew University. So what's the process that you take to recruit? What are your steps?
Pretty much, there's a couple ways that I can do it. I can go to showcases and tournaments, which are very popular, which have a lot of kids that are already interested in playing college tennis. Mm-hmm. So I know that every prospective student I'm looking at, they already have an interest. They want to be able to play 4 years of college tennis. They're really, they're very motivated. They're very driven. So that's kind of one big thing I like to do. Also, coaches referrals are big. I'll get a call from a coach and say, hey, I have a student here that I think would be good for your program. They work hard. They're this. They work hard and off the court. They keep up with their grades, and they want a smaller school. So I suggested, your school. So this is a person that I like to put you in touch with. Mm-hmm. So those are my two real main avenues to be able to find the number of kids.
Do you find any kids from the USTA rankings?
Yes. I don't believe the rankings are a definitive way to say that one kid's better than another. But rankings are a way to use of just, kind of generalizing kids a little bit. Sometimes kids are more fortunate than others, and they can go out and they can play 12, 16, 18 tournaments a year. Meanwhile, you might have a couple kids that only play 4 a whole year. Right. So it's all about really kind of getting a basis of like, okay, this person's interested, but then going out and seeing them play. Mm-hmm. Once they're on the court, you can see their demeanor, they can see how they act, they can see how they, just very simply they treat other people, and that's very, very big. I'm a big believer in very high character people, and that's a testament to also the group of students that are there right now at Drew, is that they're all very high character, they all really support each other, and that's kind of the culture that we want to be able to have. So I'm always going to want people who feed into that culture as well.
So now, do you look at when you go to the high school level, do you look at the grades? Do you look at the athletic ability? What are you looking for in a high school kid from boy or girl?
I'm looking at some grades, because obviously you want to make sure that that the school is the right fit. I want to make sure that they really feel comfortable with where they are, and if it's too hard academically, then it might not be the right situation for them. Or if they feel like, oh, like I might be suited to go off somewhere else, then sometimes in the end Drew might not be the right decision. Which also I tell potential student athletes too. I'm just like, if you feel like this isn't the right fit for you, that's okay. Because I think across the board, every coach wants to have students that are there for 4 years. Mm-hmm. No one wants to have someone come in for a year and then realize that, hey, I want to go somewhere else. It's a stress on the students, it's a stress on their parents. It's also a stress on the athletic department as well, if you have kids leaving. But I think when you find the right kids, such as finding kids with the right grades and with the right motivation, I think when you find that perfect fit, and that's what every coach is really looking for.
And what are some of the grades that you look for in a tennis player?
What's nice about tennis players is typically they're pretty bright academically. So generally around a 3.3 GPA, 3.3, 3.5. That's kind of like a good target area for what I'm looking for, because it shows that they definitely dedicate their time into schoolwork as well. Mm-hmm. There's going to be reasons why it might be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Standardized test scores, I'm not a believer in, so I don't go off by ACTs or SATs. Because I remember when I had to take them myself, I was in a random room on a Saturday and I had no clue what I was doing half the time, and I just wasn't comfortable, so I really couldn't perform to my ability. So I'd rather see a student's work and their GPA over a 4-year span than just one test.
Yeah, that's good. So now there's a lot of myths out there from parents, and one of the myths is, my son or daughter goes to college, it's all about the sport. They're not going to worry about trying to get them to go to school. What is your take on that particular myth?
I definitely think that's a big myth. That's something that definitely has to be addressed. What's nice about Drew in particular is that there's a very good support system for student athletes, and that they really are involved in a lot of different things. So even though you might be a part of the tennis team, or a different team on campus, you might also be a part of your psychology club or your English department club. So you have a lot of avenues there to still stay very involved. So you're not just labeled as an athlete. You're an athlete, but also, hey, you're involved in a bunch of different facets. And even with the current students now, they are involved in many different types of clubs. Sometimes I can't even keep track of them because we offer so many, and they are always involved, and making sure that the grades stay high. That's something that through athletics I'm able to make sure that their grades are up to a certain standard, which is really what it's all about. Because a lot of students, they know that they might not be going professional, and very few even that go Division I, very few of them even go professional. So it's all about creating a good experience for 4 years where they work hard, they're involved in many different things, and also be able to make sure that after their time is complete, after the 4 years, they are well suited to go on with life after college.
Yeah. Now, with yourself or at your school, a lot of parents usually say, Division II, Division III type schools, they don't have any money for tennis. That is another myth that a lot of parents have. Is that something that you can combat as well?
Well, Division III doesn't offer athletic money, per se, but what we do offer is academic scholarships that are equal to, if not greater than, a lot of athletic scholarships. With a lot of the cases of giving out scholarship money, everyone thinks that because you have a label, you will automatically have money. There's very few teams out there that are traditionally fully funded. So every kid on there is having full rides. So I think it's important for the parents understand that even though the school that your child might be looking at might be Division I or Division II, necessarily doesn't mean that in return you're going to get automatically more money. It could just be a fact that you might get some money from athletics, but you might not get the same type of academic scholarship that you would have at a different institution. So it's always good to always apply to all different types of schools. Mm-hmm. Even also if it's ones that you're maybe not interested to. It's all about kind of finding what you like and also what you don't like. And that's also, as I like to tell a lot of parents and students and prospective students I meet, I was like, it's all about finding what you do like and also, more importantly, what you don't like about a school to reaffirm what you do like. Yeah.
Now, how does it work at the college level for student athletes? What's the year-round practice schedule? Do you have a fall practice? Do you have a spring schedule? What do they do in the winter, the summer? Is it an all year round type of thing?
Well, every sport's a little bit different, but for tennis, we have a fall season that lasts about 4 to 5 weeks in the fall time. So as soon as they come back from the summer, we really try to jump into tennis right away for about 4 or 5 weeks. That's our non-traditional season. So we're not having conference matches or playoff matches or even NCAA tournament. That's all in the springtime. But we do have a non-traditional fall season where we play some tournaments. We play a couple head-to-head matches that are at a conference to kind of gear us up and get ready for the springtime. So after that 4 or 5 week season is over, currently we're in our off season where the students are training and they're doing physical fitness. They're also running captains practices to be able to make sure that they're kind of playing without the organized structure of traditional practice. Then when second semester starts, that's our traditional season. So we will go with our tournament that we host at Drew, and that'll go all the way through till hopefully middle of May with NCAA tournaments.
Wow.
So the spring season is definitely the meat of the season, but the fall is also very valuable.
And do they do anything in the summer?
In the summertime, that's going to be all on the student athletes themselves. A lot of the student athletes do work. A lot of them actually teach tennis, so they're always involved in the game as well. I always encourage the student athletes to go out and teach the sport because they'll learn it just on a different kind of level. Mm-hmm. So when they have the time to be able to make sure that, okay, they're able to take care of their work, that also they do able to find some time to be able to play in a couple of tournaments, even if it's adult leagues, so that they're always kind of staying active and training through those means.
Now, do you give them any type of food regimen that they have to do, or do they get a per diem when they're away from the school, that kind of stuff?
Well, I try to give them a basis of an outline that they should try to follow. I'm a big believer in that tennis is a pretty individualized sport, so you have to make it an individual experience as well within a team concept. So I advise them on things and how to take care of their bodies and make sure they're stretching and make sure that they're they're really doing everything that they can to enhance themselves, physically, but also just kind of mentally too with those things, as I mentioned. But really just making sure that they're really in control of themselves. And if they feel uncomfortable doing something, to make sure that they understand, okay, this is why you're doing it, and it's for the greater good. But even if you don't go 100% with it, you're infusing it into your system a little bit.
So now, how do you go about recruiting kids? Do you just stick at the high school level, or is there outside activities that you do? How do you find your student athletes?
I like to use high school teams as a way to find student athletes. There's always kind of the debate with a sport like tennis on should my child just play tournaments or should he play on the high school team? And I'm a big believer in play on your high school team. Not only in a great experience, it's also a lot of fun. You really get that team atmosphere and concept, just like even if I win, my team might lose. So after I'm done with my match, win or lose, I still have to be supportive of my teammates. So I like to look on the high school level, kids that are playing high school tennis as a way to find kids because they really buy into the concept of team tennis.
Interesting. And so is there men and women that you're looking for both all year round? That's what you're doing?
Yeah, pretty much all year round. Besides working with both teams, you're always on the recruiting trail. There's always names that come into your system. There's names that unfortunately get out of your system, and it's really just a non-stop cycle. It really kind of goes 24/7 because like a lot of sports now, students are going earlier with their college decisions. So their main year for recruiting a lot of times is their junior year, and then really by their senior year they're just finding their top three and they're going to visit them and they're really seeing how they really fit in. So they're really narrowing down their search.
So how do you go about finding a boy or a girl to come to your school? Is there a particular avenue that you take, and how many are you recruiting at any particular time?
Well, I tell prospective students that there's 4 slots open. So the earlier that you come, you're guaranteed a spot. Also, if I am recruiting you and you're outside the top 4, then you're able to come on as a walk-on, traditionally. But the main way I really find the students is through tournaments and showcases, high school matches, and also there are a couple avenues online to be able to contact kids through there that they list some of their information, such as their GPA and where they're from, and tournaments that they have played in, to be able to contact them and really just try to be able to speak with them about their feelings. But I like to really get out there and see the students play.
So how do you go about, how many kids are you recruiting to get down to 4? Is it 4 men and 4 women that you're looking for every year, or is it more than that?
Traditionally, that's going to be kind of my target class is 4. Some years might be a little lower, some years might be a little bit higher, but that's kind of an average class. And to be able to get 4 kids, I think you're going to have to reach out to probably a couple hundred
Really?
to be able to have a decent amount that are very, very interested in coming on campus, seeing how Drew is, how Drew operates, and really going from there and having them meet with the players, having them meet with the coaches on staff too, to just see how they really see themselves in this environment. College athletics has obviously gotten a lot more competitive, and with that trend, so has recruiting. So just because you're looking at one kid very intensely, you might also have 5 other schools that are looking at him or her the exact same way.
Yeah.
So the intensity of the recruiting scale has gone up a lot.
And so have you seen a difference between recruiting men compared to women?
There is a little bit of difference. Typically the men, they're a little bit less selective on things. They just kind of want to see how the team is. They want to see how the school is. They want to see how the coach is, and they want to see how the team is. Then for the girls, they really do focus a lot on the academics, on how well they do see themselves achieving their academic goals, what programs are offered for them, what also off-campus learning is there as well, because Drew offers a lot of learning outside the classroom because we're located near New York City, and really trying to take advantage of all those academic opportunities as well as athletic with the team chemistry as well.
So now, how do you go about defining the men's and women's at the college level? Are they both at the same time? Are you coaching at the same time in the fall and in the spring, men's and women's?
Yes, so I'm coaching both teams at the same time. How I do everyday practice is I stagger the practice times as well as the assistant coach coaches coming to practice as well, so that I'm able to be freed up. I give everyone a game plan for practice so everyone knows going into practice what's expected of them, what they're going to be doing. There might be slight changes in it, of course, but so everyone's always prepared mentally on what they're doing today, if it's more of a physical kind of day or if it's more of a match play kind of day, so that they're able to get organized with exactly how they're doing it. Then I also give that to the assistant coaches so they're able to execute that game plan as well, and then we go out there and we practice.
Geez, that's a lot of practice time.
It's a lot, but it always makes you better though. So that's always the key.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there a particular area that you focus on, is where you find a lot of kids that are playing tennis, or do you pretty much comb the whole country?
I like to go. I like to stay in the Northeast area. Also, there is a big draw from California as well. We currently on our roster we have about 4 to 5 students from California.
Wow.
So that's an area that I'll travel to as well to go find student athletes, and also down in the Florida area as well, because there's an abundance of tennis as well, kind of all playing all year round. And when you're a school from the north and you can offer indoor facility, that means that they can continue training year round. So a lot of times people from the warmer climates think, I'm going to go to a cold area, but I'm not going to be able to play. But an indoor facility allows us to be able to make sure that they're playing at all times.
So the facility at school is very good then?
Yeah, I like to say our facility at Drew is comparable, if not better than a lot of D1 facilities.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, that brings up another point then. Is there budgets for all these different type of sports where you can recruit everywhere, or do some sports don't get any kind of money and some sports do?
Every team's allotted in a budget, and for the most part they're really kind of all the same. We like to share an equity model, so every sport is treated the exact same. At Drew, our biggest teams are such as lacrosse and soccer, so those teams are just bigger, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they get a lot of preference over such as a tennis team or like a fencing team.
Right.
So we are able to make sure that we are funded through our athletic department to be able to go out and bring in the best student athletes. That's why I believe also our record and the championships that we won on both sides really indicates that support from our athletic department, which really in the end, when they really show you their support, then that makes you really feel like, okay, I can believe in what I'm really doing, because you get great confidence from up top.
Now, does a school like Drew University or any Division Type 3 schools, do they do any type of things like College United high schools or things like that, or is it pretty much, kids are just, how do they find a small school like a Drew University?
A lot of times, a lot of it's by word of mouth, kind of how everything is these days. A lot of people have a friend that might have looked at Drew, but it might not have worked out for them. But they see a cousin or sibling or a friend of theirs going through a college process, and they're like, "Oh, I tried out Drew. It was a great school. Well, why don't you go check it out?" So a lot of it's through word of mouth. A lot of it's also done now through social media. A lot of it. Just to find a school, you can find their athletic website. They can find each team's Facebook page. They can find out, through the Drew website and take virtual tours of the campus even before they step on it. So that's one great thing that for a lot of small schools now, they're able to really be exposed and out there because of social media and the way the internet's just transformed a lot of things.
And hence why the competition becomes so much greater.
Exactly.
So is there anything that Division III schools do where a Division I school wouldn't be able to do?
I don't really believe so. But I do think that, just speaking on Drew's behalf, the biggest thing that we offer compared to at least much larger schools is we really offer one-on-one connections. We really care about what students want. We really go, to the 10th degree and beyond to make sure that they are absolutely okay and they're taken care of for. So that's one nice thing that I know on Drew's end that we really, really do. We really go to make out of our way to make sure that everyone's experience is very great.
Good. Well, we're coming to the end of our show. So usually what I ask my guests at the end is what type of advice would you give to the parents if their son or daughter wants to go on to college to play tennis?
I think the biggest advice I can give parents is to definitely be proactive. A lot of times parents think, oh, my child is very good, so a lot of attention is going to come to them. If you feel like a school is right for your child and you feel that a certain area of the country might be great for your child, then go contact the coach yourself. A lot of them have their contact information on websites. Go contact them and just email them or give them a call and just say, hey, my name's so-and-so, I'm from here, and I'm interested in your school, I'd like to learn a little bit more. That also makes on a coach's end feel like, oh, this person really does want to come here and they're interested in Drew or any school, and they're showing me that they're interested. Now you're on my radar, and now I'm really aware of you, and now you're interested in me. Now I am even more interested in you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.